Another one-on-one chat with me on the podcast. I the last one I did was on delegation, and a lot of you said you really appreciated it, which was awesome. So today we're going to be talking about business blindness and what to do about it. For those of you who run your own business, or for some of you who have your own projects, you might find yourself in a position where things are moving fast, but they feel a little bit overwhelming. It's like you're going faster and faster and faster down a track, and the headlights are off. You're just like, oh, I hope this works. I'm not totally convinced that it's gonna, and I don't really know how to control it. And I don't really feel a sense of like who's on what and what is happening. That is what we are going to unblock today. And I'm going to give you something for free that you can use. It's going to help you with this as well. So let's talk about that idea. What is the struggles that we tend to have here? We can have working memory struggles. So we can say, okay, I don't really remember how my business fits together. You'd be surprised how often I'll talk to business owners and I'll say, well, how do people come to you? And they'll say referrals and Facebook ads. And oh, I think a while back we said we were going to do something to do with podcasts and we didn't. We can lose that information. Or I could say, well, how do you onboard a new client? Oh, I'm not really sure. It's document somewhere, et cetera, et cetera. So we can lose that stuff with working memory. Then there can be good old time blindness. So, what is the timeline? How long does it take you to acquire a customer? How long does it take you to add a customer? All of those things can be missed. We can also struggle with delegation responsibility. So, we can say, I think it was this person's job, but then they left. And so now I think it's somebody else's job. Or the good old, and I've heard this before from a lot of business owners, everybody's job. It's everybody's job. And unfortunately, if that's the case for you, it's also nobody's job. And then we can also struggle with impulsivity. And this is a huge one that I personally, the thing I'm going to teach you guys today, that SOP pipeline has been massively important for my own life, is getting rid of some of that impulsivity, shiny object syndrome. Because what we can find is we can say, oh, I'm going to use this outreach method. I'm going to post every day on socials. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And all of a sudden, we have a ton of different areas that are not connecting at all. People will go, oh, well, I'm going to post on social media every day. That's what I'm going to do. That's it. I'm doing it. You'll do it for a week. It'll be inconsistent. And then people will say, well, it's really weird. I didn't actually get, I didn't get any clients. And the truth is, did you have a space where those clients could come through, where they could actually find out about you? Are these people you already know? How do you bring new people into your world? All of these things happen as well. And I can see for those of you who are joining live, impulsivity 100% is one of those problems. So that's something that we're going to clear away today. We're going to make it really, really simple. And we're going to do it with something called the SOP pipeline. Now, if you're looking at the YouTube, then you'll see on my screen. But otherwise, I'm going to talk you through what this SOP pipeline is. Basically, what it is we want to get a sense of your business in a visual form. So you can draw this. I personally use Miro. And if you DM me on Instagram at Unconventional Organization, if you DM me SOP, I will send you the full Miro outline of what I do so that you can use it. And this is something I use with my one-on-one clients. Specifically, we build it out for them. So there's three main areas to a business. Every business, whether you're a tradie, whether you're running software, whether you're getting VC funding or you're bootstrapping, every business has three main areas. Acquisition, which is how do people find you? How do you lead them to your offer? How do you get them to know, like, and trust you? And then how do you sell to them? Right? Then we have retention. How do you onboard them? How to ensure their needs are met? How do you get their positive reviews? How do you encourage them to stay or to buy again? That kind of thing. And then there's a third part, which isn't always possible for people, but I highly recommend you consider this, which is expansion. How do you make your customers more valuable over time? And if you're thinking that's a really cool 3-part series, I didn't make it up. It's in a book called SaaS, Software as a Science. Highly recommend. Great book. So then we want to think about this. And so for a lot of people, what I've found, and I've done this process now with many, many entrepreneurs, what I have tended to find is that, especially with ADHD entrepreneurs, we will be good at talking to people who already know us. We're not good at reaching out to new people who don't know us. There's a little thing called rejection sensitivity. We have it, so we do tend to avoid cold outreach or reaching out to new people, spaces where we can get rejected. So we're quite good at talking to the audience we already have, and we're quite good at giving them value. And then once somebody decides to buy from us, we're quite good at onboarding them. We tend to struggle with, like I said, the cold outreach, the reaching out to new people who don't know us, which is really crucial because you cannot build your business, especially if you want stable growth, on referrals alone. I know that it's a good idea. There's nothing wrong with referrals. It definitely means you're doing a great job, but it's not something that you're ever able to scale. People come to me and they say, "Oh, I build my business on referrals." I'm like, "That's cool. Your business is one dry spell away from not existing." So we don't want to do that. The other thing that we can tend to struggle with is the selling. How do we actually ask for money? And I used to be terrible at this, actually. I was so good at giving value. I'd be like, "Hey, this is great, and this is some research, and this is what I'm doing, and I hope you like this." And people would say, "Oh, I like this a little bit, but this could be better." And so they would go back and they would, I'd go back and fix it. And at no point was I saying, "Oh, by the way, I sell this thing if you want it." So you need to learn how to actually sell to them. That's the next step. That's kind of part of the pipeline. And then onboarding is often really good. We have ADHD, we'll get that boost of dopamine. Someone wants to work with me. That's amazing. Okay, let's go. And then we'll go ahead and, the continual maintenance of the business itself can be a bit tricky. It's one of the reasons why I highly recommend going ahead and having an assistant. An assistant can really help you with the outreach piece. An assistant can help you with the onboarding, and the retention of that onboarding. Once it becomes a sort of more regular week in, week out thing, an assistant can help you there a lot. And we talk about how to find ADHD friendly assistants and how to work with them and delegate to them. That was what we talked about a couple of weeks ago. So let's say you actually do this. You go on Miro, you use the SOP pipeline outline that I've got for you, and you build out your pipeline. How do people find you? How do they stay? How do they buy, et cetera, et cetera? What are some of the things that you are likely to find and some of the things that you might have questions about? And if you are listening to this live and you do have any questions, feel free to go ahead and pop those into the chat as well, because that's going to help me answer some of these questions as well. If you don't, then you can always DM me. But some of the biggest struggles that we're going to have when we're using and building this pipeline is we have floating acquisition strategies that are connected to nothing. This is very common with ADHD. This is the shiny object syndrome. Sometimes we can go from, well, I have social media, and I hired somebody at some point to do some Facebook ads. I don't really know what they're doing now. Sometimes we can have somebody coming in and doing something else completely different. And there are all of these random little systems and strategies that are disconnected from each other. Nothing is connected and actually flowing together. That is the biggest thing. When I built out my SOP pipeline for the first time, I had to cut like a third of what I was doing at that top acquisition level because I was doing way too much. It was not disconnected, and half of what I was doing was not actually bringing in any new clients. It was just taking up a lot of my time. So this is the first thing that you're going to want to go ahead and do. The second thing you want to do is you want to think about, okay, who is responsible for this? Because when you start out a business, the person who's going to be responsible for everything is going to be you. You're the one who is responsible for every single thing on this pipeline, but you don't want that to be forever. So, who is responsible for it right now? Who could be responsible for it in the future? That's the other thing that you want to go ahead and add to this piece. It's going to be really helpful, especially when you struggle with ADHD, that accountability of knowing either the person is me, so I'm going to have to get it done, or the person is somebody else. And so it's their responsibility. So they're going to have to get it done, is going to help a lot as we go. And one of the things I'll probably talk to you guys about in an upcoming episode is actually how to build out systems and process docs for those different people. It is connected to the SOP pipeline, but I wanted to give you this piece first so that you can just feel a little bit of a relief, a little bit of that sense of, okay, I can see how my business is going, how my business is flowing, and I'm not feeling like I'm driving blind. So, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about today for you. Essentially, what I would recommend is that you go through, you take an afternoon, you grab your SOP pipeline, or if you need to do this, physically, you can always go ahead and draw it as well. That's another way to do it. And you actually sticky note out what your business is. And don't worry if it's broken. I've worked with a lot of people who have $1 million businesses, and when they built out their SOP pipeline the first time, it was broken. So if that's you, if it's broken for you, don't worry about it. Don't feel bad about it. We all start with broken pipelines. The key is to build it so that you can see where those breaks are and so that you can build that flow more consistently and you can get a sense of how to grow without that feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm staring into the headlights, I'm not going to be able to get anything done. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a sense of how you can really understand your business, really go ahead and build out something that's going to allow you to see what's going on. And like I said, and if you let me know if you like these little teaching pieces, let me know if you have any questions. I might go ahead and do like a whole set of Q&As for one of them. And that will help us get a little sense of where we're going. But that's everything for today. Thank you so much for joining me on the live. Thank you so much for joining me for today's little episode of ADHD Skills Lab Business Edition. I will see you next time. Bye, guys.